good morning and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. We are here to discuss about Global Happiness Index. Here we have our guest speaker, Mr. Adapa Sharat Kumar. So, just I'll give a quick introduction about the program, a briefing about uh, the speaker, and then I will just leave the board to Mr. Adapa to take it further. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions, please post it in the chat, and we will definitely take it up as we go on. So, this session is scheduled for 1 hour. So, please feel free to write all your questions, debate, and discussions. Uh, just to give a quick introduction about the program. So, Global Happiness Index is sponsored by FUSI, Supply Chain Excellence Suit, and we keep promoting uh, value addition to the industries, to the individuals, and to the country as a whole, to add value to their lives. Okay. So as part of that, so we have a global happiness index webinar today. It's very important, very relevant, and also very contemporary. Okay. So let me just talk about it quickly and introduce. So basically, rising GDP and record consumption mask a deeper reality. The declining life satisfaction signals structural strain, not just emotion. Okay, so this is very important part. So for boards, happiness is a hard leading indicator of system efficiency, directly shaping productivity, compliance, and long-term resilience. So with us, Mr. Adapa Sharat Kumar, a seasoned board advisor and governance leader with over 3 decades of experience in enterprise leadership, institutional building, and strategy transformation. So he worked closely with boards, founders, and promoters to strengthen governance, guide leadership through transition, and enable long-term value creation. His expertise spans board effectiveness, succession planning, risk and compliance, ESG, and promoter professional alignment across Indian and global organizations. So I take pride to introduce Mr. Sharapa Adapa Sharat Kumar. So thank you, sir, for joining the session today, and I warm welcome to you from on behalf of everybody. Over to you. So it's all stage is all yours.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kadir sir, for this lovely introduction. And I don't know, I deserve all that, but anyway, I'm extremely thankful for you and your team, especially Ms. Jyoti and Fruit Strategy, for giving me this opportunity for speaking on this such a very relevant and in a very relevant and actually great indicator of how things are going across the world, and how boards are reacting, how policymakers are reacting, how governments are reacting. This is about Global Happiness Index, which is given every year by UNDP, UN Development Corporate, UN Development Program, and this index is about the averages of 2023 to 2025. That is 3 years, 23, 24, and 25. So whatever numbers I quote in my entire discourse, it will be of the averages of the 3 years of whatever index, whatever the government, the different nations have scored under the happiness index. And yeah, we can start, Jyoti. We can start this. Yeah. So once again, good evening. Let me begin with the paradox. Over the last decade, the world has added trillions of dollars in GDP. India has emerged as one of the fastest growing major economies. Technology has scaled access, opportunity, and ambition. And yet, stress is rising, trust is declining, and across many societies, satisfaction with life is not keeping pace with growth. Now, here is the uncomfortable question: What if growth and well-being are no longer moving together? Because if that is true, then what we are measuring in boardroom today is incomplete. Today, I want to reframe something we often dismiss: the Global Happiness Index, not as a soft metric, but as one of the most hard-edged indicators of how well a system is designed. When we speak about happiness, it is often framed as an emotional or cultural construct. But if you look at it from a leadership and board perspective, it is something far more consequential. Increasingly, what we describe as happiness is directly influencing decision making quality, execution consistency, and ultimately enterprise value. At the board level, human capital is no longer just an operational variable, it is a capital allocation decision. And the question is not whether organizations should focus on happiness. The real question is, are we structurally integrating it into how we govern, lead, and scale our enterprises? Oh, yeah, change the slide, please. From GDP to dignity. What boards, what boards are missing? System and sentiment. System is more than sentiment mostly. Happiness is often misunderstood. We think it is emotion, we think it is cultural, we think it is subjective. Actually, it is not. It is a reflection of how predictable life feels, how much trust exists, how much dignity people experience in everyday systems. That is about happiness. If GDP answers how much are we producing, happiness answers how well is life working. And increasingly, that second question is becoming more important than the first. Next slide, please. And the global paradox, what we see today is, let's look at the contradiction or the paradox. GDP is rising globally, but so are anxiety, burnout, and dissatisfaction. In India, growth is strong, aspirations are soaring, yet urban stress is increasing. Job quality remains uneven. This is not failure. I won't call it a failure. This is misalignment. We are optimizing for output, but not for experience. Next slide, please. The real metric is the happiness index measures trust, social support, freedom, health, income, perception of corruption. Now, notice something. Out of these, only one of these is purely economic. The rest are systemic design variables. This is what the barometer or the parameters for happiness index is measured. There is, you can see again, I can once again, I can tell you, the only one thing, one is only the purely economic, rest are systemic design variables, which means beyond a point, GDP stops being the primary driver of well-being and the institutional quality takes over. Next slide, please. Globally, there is a divide. Let's look at the data. Countries like Finland, Denmark, Sweden, all these Scandinavian countries consistently score above 7.5 every year on an average out of 10. Large economies like India, China, even the United States cluster between 4.5 to 6.5. India scores around, India's average is around 4.54. China is clocking 6.07. and US is clocking 6.82. Now, here is the key insight: the richest countries are not the happiest, and the happiest countries are not the largest economies. That's the paradox. That should make every vote pause. Next slide, please. What are the India signals? India is a fascinating case. High growth, young population, massive digital transformation, and yet a happiness score of around 4.5. Why? Because growth is not evenly experienced. Systems are under pressure from scale, aspirations are rising faster than delivery. India is not underperforming, it is outgrowing its systems. Next slide. Trust economy. In Scandinavian countries, trust in institutions often exceeds 60 to 70%. Public systems are predictable. Citizens do not spend energy navigating complexity. In contrast, in many emerging economies, trust is fragmented. Systems require effort to navigate, and that creates something invisible: the cognitive load. And cognitive load reduces productivity. Next slide, please. Let me put this simply: every time a system is unclear, a process is delayed, a decision is uncertain, there is a cost attached to it, not visible in balance sheets, but real cost. We call this the friction tax. And low happiness societies pay a much higher friction tax. Next slide, please. Human capital. Now let's connect this to the business. Studies show higher well-being is something that it gives around 20 to 25% of higher productivity, but lower attrition, better innovation, which means happiness is not HR, it is a core business driver. Next slide, please. As happiness rises, economies evolve from survival consumption to experience consumption, travel, wellness, learning. This is what, when the happiness goes up, these are sectors which do pretty well, like travel or wellness or learning. This is projected to be a $12 trillion US dollars global shift. Happiness changes demand curves. Next slide, please. Here's another hidden truth: it's not just income inequality, it's experience inequality. In India, same GDP growth, there are different lived realities: urban versus rural, formal versus informal. Happiness tracks consistency of experience, not the averages. Next slide, please. Happiness is a lagging indicator. It reflects decision made 10 to 15 years ago. So whatever points we are scoring today as a nation, as an happiness index, they are the result of the decisions which policymakers have made some 10 to 15 years ago. So what we see today is the result of past governance quality. Now the next slide, please. Scandinavian countries didn't become happy by accident. They invested in trust, public systems, social security, simplicity. They reduced friction, and that created stability. Next slide, please. And for boards, what is the imperative? For boards, this is critical. Happiness is not CSR. It is a signal of market stability, a predictor of talent quality, a driver of long-term returns. It is an operating condition. Next slide, please. The future. We are entering a new phase from GDP-led economies to experience-led economies. Where trust, Dignity and predictability will define winners. Next slide, please. And my final insight is, let me leave you with this: growth builds scale, but design builds resilience. And happiness is the shadow cast by good design. Let me close with this with a simple but powerful observation. The countries that top the happiness charts, Finland, Denmark, Sweden, are not the largest economies. They are not the fastest growing, but they are among the most productive, stable, and trusted societies in the world. On the other hand, large economies, including China, India, and US, have scale, have capital, have growth, but are still working towards converting that into consistent lived experiences. So the real question is not how fast we are growing, but how well our systems working for the people. Because in the end, nations do not become successful by producing more; they become successful by enabling people in to function their best. So next decade will not reward the fastest growing economies; it will reward the best designed ones. And whatever decisions we are taking today, that is on 2026, it will reflect by 2035. So we have to keep thinking about around 10 years ahead of us, or 10 to 15 years ahead of us. Thank you very much. Thanks for the opportunity. I'm open to the questions now.
So, yeah, Jyoti, you can stop the screen share. Yeah, very interesting. I would like to understand from the normal user point of view. Okay, let us say not the boards, not the managers kind of thing. As a normal working professional or something, how does how can how can he understand global happiness index? Is there a way to calculate it? What are
Yes.
the parameters inside that? So is that those parameters are connected to him? So how is that? So how can we relate any professional or individual
Yeah.
relate
Yeah.
to him?
So generally, the Global Happiness Index is calculated by UNDP, United Nations Development Program, which does this every year. And the results what we see today is it has come in visualcapital.com, which gives us in a visual this thing. If you go to their site, you will find the maps with all the what the scores the major nations have scored.
Mhm.
Generally, for a normal person, what they do is they do the survey. They have done a survey for 1 lakh people across the world. 1 lakh
Mhm.
for the 3 years, 23, 24, and 25. So whatever numbers you're saying, whatever numbers I told in course of this thing,
Mhm.
like India or China or US or anything, they are uh, they are actually the averages of all 3 years. And how they are calculated, they go to the each and every country and looking at different place, getting different sizes and target segments. And the country is measured in trust, social support. The trust is on institutions like governments, like public sector units or private sector units. That is what is
Mhm.
trust is all about. Then the next one is social support. How much they are getting the social support in terms from the government. Is government giving them some any support in terms of economy, in terms of economic support or financial support to survive? Like even like pensions, like these are things which, like some like some of the some government doles out some lot of financial this thing to many weaker sections. All these come under social support. The third one is income stability, whether the country has the stability in income. That is the third parameter. Whether the country basically like all whether because whatever, whether it is a government or the private sector, or maybe and the people who are the lower category strata in terms of economic strata, whether their stability is income. Like you can say that take case of Manrega, Manrega MNREGA, which was is now it is I think it is now renamed as NG Ram Ram or something like that. And Manrega used to give lot of doles out for the labor class. So, but it was not stable because Manrega can give you only when there is a construction happening. But of course, luckily in India has got a lot of construction going on because of the SEZs going on. A lot of the roads and infrastructure is getting developed in the last 10 years. But all these things, I'm just talking about India in that sense. That is income stability. These are the factors which give income stability. Now coming to health. Health is a fourth factor. Health in the sense whether we are not only physically healthy, are we mentally healthy also?
Mhm.
That is also being calculated over there. Whether we feel, whether the population feels that they are very mentally healthy, whether their cognitive level, the cognitive level is like the brain level, that the mental health is level is very high, or they feel that they are going down the drain. Like I keep saying that our cognitive brains are getting down because of the too much exposure to internet and mobile, especially mobile. You see, in the age of 3 years, 4 years, kids are getting accustomed to mobiles and they're exposed to mobiles, and then at the very young age they're getting specs. They're wearing specs. Their eyesight is getting weak. That is also a healthy. That is also the indicator of the health. But of course, in terms of India, if you take particularly India per se, the last 20-25 years, India has done pretty well in terms of health, frankly, because India has eradicated polio, chickenpox, smallpox, leprosy, tuberculosis in the last 20-25 years down the line. You can say from the maybe before that also from the 90s, early 90s or mid 90s. So all governments need to be congratulated for that. All governments from whichever they were till today. There was a time when Mr. Bachchan used to come and he used to tell us, please go egg drop polio ka every Sunday. Every Sunday there used to be a polio drop kind of a thing. There was a huge campaign for this, and this kept on for every government did it, and we have reached a stage where, as an emerging economy, in spite of being an emerging economy, we could actually eradicate polios, chickenpox, smallpox, TB, leprosy. Of course, there will be some instances somewhere, but overall we have created, and that is a great achievement in terms of India. What India has achieved in terms of health, because of India has its own economic constraints, financial constraints. Because we are not a great economy in terms of for a population like us, having achieved that kind of health is pretty. But it's not that we have achieved everything fine. But there is lot to do in terms of health, because there is a cancer growing up now. Now that is the future. Now there is a cancer which is especially growing in terms of, it's just like a monster which is growing, which in, because I am also uh, one of the directors on the board for 180 crore worth of a hospital which we are building near Vizag, my hometown. And I'm on the board, and we are actually working. See, it is called Sri Satyasai Trust for Universal Welfare. It's one of the disciples of from Sri Satyasai Baba over there. So we are building a hospital there, which is be very free of cost everywhere. It is basically because of the tribal areas. It is situated in a tribal area where we have the ladies are actually getting cancer infected actually, especially cervical cancer, breast cancer. Most of the cancers are very high in terms of ladies. If you compare with men, men have less. So, and most of them are tribals, and they can't afford the cancer treatment actually, because it's quite high in terms of promotion, in terms of proportion, and the amount of spend we have to spend in terms of cancer. That is something which is we need to look at, and especially it's a good thing that recently the central government and the state governments, and especially in Andhra, they jointly released a vaccine. Even in Tamil Nadu, they have released a vaccine for cervical cancer, and it has been put to people, girls above 13 who have who have gone there, who have crossed by puberty actually. So that is good thing that we have at least vaccine for cervical cancer. So we need vaccine for other cancers also, like oral, like breast cancer, especially, which are a very high proportion among women. So that is health. Coming to freedom, freedom is very general topic actually, and it actually invokes a lot of emotions when you say freedom, right? It actually polarizes societies when you say freedom. Freedom of what? The question is freedom of what? The freedom of speech, freedom of writing, freedom of expression. So there are so many things you can ask. If you ask somebody, they will say that I should have freedom of this, I should have freedom of that. But of course, but you have to understand that freedom also brings, has got a, what you call, it comes with a this thing, what a responsibility. And today when we have a social media across the world, which is good actually, one way it is good also, and one way it is bad also. If
Mhm.
it is used well, there is nothing better than social media. If it is used well, but if it gets out of hand, then it can't be more dangerous than any cancer or any big disease actually. It can spread so fast. So that is something, freedom of speech. We talk about freedom of speech, we talk about freedom of writing, and social media has given us that freedom of speech to us, and thanks to them, and means general public is able to what do you call, express their thinking in terms of how the governments are functioning. Yeah, so it's a quite a long answer for that. So because there are six parameters which they correct. So I
Mhm.
carry on the next. I have a lot of questions actually from my friends and all. If you allow me, I can one by one I can
Yeah,
share
yeah.
with you.
What I would like to know is, yeah, so global happiness index is measured every year. But how
Yes.
does, see, as you just explained, as an individual, this is an explanation. Okay, but for the organization, it is relevant for them. Okay, and what is it
Yeah.
they should take care? Where is the input for this? Is it in the at the time of strategy formulation, or is it like a corporate social responsibility, or is it part of culture? What is that? What is your intake in that? Mhm. Input.
See, for organizations, if they have employees, as I keep saying that whenever any organization which have their employees, if their employees are means, you have to see their attrition levels at the first. Attrition level is very less, means the organization is happy. Either they are very happy, or they don't have the opportunity to go. There are two ways of looking at it. Either the employees don't have opportunity to go outside, or they are very happy within their organizations. That is the two ways. So you can't take it on a face value attrition levels also. But I can tell you, because I come from a startup which started around 16 years back, and when we started off around, it was 3 people, and today we have 56 people, and we have zero attrition in the last 16 years. Globally, we have people across globally, and
Okay.
so how we have done it, whether how we uh, how we feel that our people are happy or not. See, as the first place, the everything happiness comes from the basic thing, that it is trust. The happiness comes from trust. The basic foundation of happiness. If there is no trust, there will be no happiness. The trust between the employer and the employee, and the employee and the employer. But generally, what happens? Most of the employers or the companies, they feel that the employee should trust us first, as a diktat, because we are big, because we are giving you a job. So you should trust us rather than rather than we trusting you, rather than you trusting us. So rather than means the employee trusting the employer. So that is where the whole friction starts. As I talked about friction tax, that's the friction tax is started from the day one, from the day one when the employee joins. And the people say that this is a rule, you have to log in this day. If you don't log in, you are out. You will not get salary. Your salary is gone that day. Even if you work on that day, if you're 1 minute late, there are so many things. I'm just giving you
Mhm.
one example. There are so many things which are HR related and all that, but it is not HR related. It is actually purely structure driven. It is very so. If you are happy, then naturally, like as I keep quoting Mr. Richard Branson when he said that you have to train your people so well that they can leave your company. Now the question is, why should we train when somebody wants to leave? That is the question comes, right? So the second, you should treat them so well that they don't want to leave. That's the second line. So, so he's saying you should train your people so that they can leave. It means that they're well-trained people. They can go anywhere in the world and they can continue their jobs, and they're so well-trained. But make sure that they don't go, because and that will only happen when you're treating them so well. So for a company, what they have to look at is how best once your employees are treated. When employees are treated very well, your productivity will be very consistent and it will be very high. And that is where the employees this thing. And this also comes with not only with trust. The
Mhm.
next layer of foundation of this thing is freedom. Trust is the first basic foundation. Next is freedom. These two are there, automatically your happiness within the employees will go up. That is what boards need to look at, or the companies need to look at. Sir,
Yeah.
if you ask any employee, are you happy? Straight away, if you ask any employee of any company, he will say, I'm very happy, I'm very happy, right? He or she will say straight away if you ask them. And that is, you can't take them on face value. The same employee will write anonymously also, and by once they leave also, they will write everything on Glassdoor. Glassdoor is a platform where everybody opens up. Nobody can claim where if you are good, they will write good also. But if you are bad, they will trash you like anything. And Glassdoor is not asking anybody to come and write here. They themselves are going to Glassdoor and writing. For any company to judge what they are, they can't judge through their websites. They should be judged by their Glassdoor. Go to Glassdoor, put their name, put the company name. Glassdoor will give you what all your ex-employees have told you. Have they told you that if they're telling good, then you are a really great company. If you are bad, then only God, because the comments in Glassdoor are very provocative, and people believe it. And today, across the world, people believe Glassdoor only. They don't believe any website of any company, frankly speaking, whether which are big or small. Because your website is like your own, what you call, it's like your own communication engine. So naturally, it will talk good things about you. But the real thing comes real how your company is behaving in terms of HR or in terms of anything. Once how work culture is there and all this, you can just check yourself out in the Glassdoor. That's a parameter.
Good. Yeah. Fine, sir. You said you have some very good questions. So maybe we can just have a.
Yeah, I'll just tell you because some of them are there. Like one of my, I got this WhatsApp message from one of my colleague. GDP doesn't guarantee happiness. Should growth take a backseat? That was a question. So I told so the answer to this is that not at all. Growth is essential, very essential. But growth without system design, it will create imbalance. Take the example of the US. US has got high GDP, present inequality. And contrastingly, you take the Scandinavian countries, Finland, Sweden, Norway, Iceland, then of course Denmark, moderate GDP. Their GDP is not very high; it's very moderate, but the people have high trust and stability in their lives. The difference is not growth; it's how growth is translated into live lived experience. The growth is not less growth. The goal is not less growth. We're not looking for reducing the growth. The goal is better design growth. And growth builds scale, but design converts it into well-being. That is what is the answer to this. Then the another question has come. This what I call this. Why do Scandinavian countries consistently rank highest? So what is the reason? Why all these Scandinavian countries only Canada? You see, Sweden, Denmark, Norway, they all clock 7.5 above every year, and they're doing it for the last 10, 15 years. It's not that they're doing it now. So they have spent decades. The governments, the policymakers, the companies there, they have spent decades in creating, decades building high trust systems, reliable public services, strong social safety nets, and most of the and actually, in fact, their transportation, everything is free over there. Actually, most of the places, transportation, health. Of course, they have a very high taxes. The tax system is very high. Though the government gives less, everything is free over there, but the tax system is very high, and everywhere, and 90% of the people pay taxes. That is how they have built the system over there. The system design is like that. Strong social safety nets. When if somebody gets old, there is a social fabric which helps them in that old people in the Scandinavian countries. Low corruption environments. You don't feel corruption over there. The corruption is more or less it's a non-entity over there. This reduces what I call the decision fatigue of everyday life. People don't spend energy navigating systems like we do in India. We had to run around government's offices if you had to get some maybe Aadhaar card or a license or whatever it is. Though of course most of it is now becomes online, but still we had to run around for some or other thing. We had to keep running around. So this kind of running around is not there in the Scandinavian countries. How we see in India. Of course, India has come not just above what it was some 10, 15 years back. They spend on creating value, and they and people don't spend energy on navigating systems. That is the reason why Scandinavian countries productivity is very high, innovation is strong, and wherever productivity is very high, there will be innovation. Societal stability is very high, and I can tell you within the Scandinavian countries, the divorce rates are very low because families are very happy, But you see the divorce rates in US is very high. Is the largest economy in the world, and people are on the streets right now as I speak. People are on the streets across US protesting against their own president for his all whatever decisions he has taken. Well, they're not happy because they're paying high what do you call petrol has gone up, US the diesel has gone up, the gas has gone up. Even US is facing the crunch. So they didn't optimize for, and the Scandinavian countries didn't optimize for happiness. They optimized for friction reduction. As I told you about the friction tax earlier, that friction has to reduce, and they have done it pretty well actually in terms of reducing it actually. And of course, now the best question I feel is that everybody feels is that where does India stand in this context? There is another question which has come. Where does India stand in this contest? And India is at an inflection point. It is high growth. Of course, India is growing very high. Massive demographic advantage. We have a massive demographic advantage because our median age is 29. Our median age is 29, whereas China's median age is 39. Japan is around 40 some change, 42, 43. But this demographic advantage we will have only till 2047.
Mm.
That is from today. So if we have to have that demographic advantage, and of course Europe is losing, the US is losing, the North America, South America, then Asia Pacific, everybody is losing that. Only India has got that demographic advantage because India is a young country. India's, as I told you, India's median age is around 29. So
Mm.
if we are to continue this advantage, the otherwise the rest of the world is becoming the nation of regions of old people, where they will not be. Everybody will be in a retirement mode. Nobody will be doing any productive work over there. But in India, the young people will be very high. But it has to this if we have to this advantage and take leverage of this advantage, then we had to do population management. All these days we talked about population control earlier,
Mhm.
but now population management. Actually, we have to increase the population, otherwise we lose this advantage by 2047. If we have to continue this population advantage or demographic dividend after for 2047 also, then we have to take the steps today from today itself. That's what our CM also keeps saying. Mr. Chandrababu Naidu keeps saying that we have to do population management rather than population control. He was a guy who used to tell 25 years back about population control, but now things have changed. That's how, and he's looking at some 25 years ahead of the curve. So that is a massive demographic advantage which India has. Now India's digital infrastructure is also scaling. That is also good. That is a good thing. But what is bad in India? India's point is that we have a very uneven access, and urban pressure is there. The job quality gaps are very high within India. Within the job quality gaps are very high. India's challenge is not growth; it is converting growth into consistent experience at scale. That is India's challenge. India's growth will anyway achieve. India will anyway achieve the growth, but consistently if they have to experience that scale, that will be the major issue which India will have, and that's a
Mhm.
far more complex problem actually. India is not underperforming in any way, but it is outgrowing, as I told you in my PowerPoint also, it is outgrowing its systems. That is the Indian issue with that.
Yeah. Sir, how
And
does
another question,
how does a
yeah,
global happiness index is taken into consideration while doing union budget or something
yes,
by
yes, yes,
government? So how does that? Because it's very important topic. And, do they really take it as an input for the
yes,
budgeting,
yes.
or
It is taken. It is
how is
taken.
it?
Yeah.
Mhm.
It is
Mhm.
taken because generally World Economic Forum also gives a happiness index in terms of there, but UNDP is the right platform which does all these things. World
Mhm.
Economic Forum gives an economic survey of the nations, most of the nations, because that is the reason whenever we present the financial budget for any year, there is an economic survey of the countries told before that, one day before or 2 days before that, before the budget placement, and how which sectors are doing very well, which sectors are not doing very well, which sector should be taxed, which sectors not should not be taxed. And if you see the greatest indicator for any country that there is some happiness going on in their country is that there are three things. So one is that the travel is very high. The travel industry and in the sectors associated with travel like hospitality, restaurants, F&B, and all that stuff. They're doing very well. Then it means that there is the one's country is quite happy. That
Mhm.
is, people will be spending a lot on travel,
Mhm.
and whichever company means if somebody is coming from US or UK, that particular family is very happy. If they are coming to India or wherever it is, they're traveling to, like Indians go do a lot of travel to Southeast Asia, Asian countries and Asia Pacific, like Australia, New Zealand. Indians go a lot travel there, like Indonesia, Thailand, or maybe Malaysia. So they travel a lot. Indians travel a lot in that places. So and the Indians have seen that the travel is very high. Or within the country also they are traveling a lot because for this. Then it means that the happiness is very high. Then the other way to look at is if they are spending more on education. Indians spend very high on education these days. But that is one way of looking at it. But it can't be indicator of happiness also. But it also is an indicator of what you call the burden. You can take the burden which parents take to teach. Take up their student, their kids and all, because they feel that they have kids will be facing competition in the days to come because of the uncertainty in terms of jobs and all. So they should be prepared. So they should be given the best education in the world, or best education in India, best schools, best colleges. They spend a lot. Of course, they. I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but they're doing it. They're doing it very happily. That I don't. I'm not sure about it. But by the out of responsibility, they might be doing it. But that also increases happiness. That is also increase. And of course, digital the infrastructure is growing. People are using a lot of social media. Too much of social media ads are coming. Too much of advertising happens on social media. That is also an indicator of happiness because people are watching a lot of stuff they are exposed to. But if social media is guided well, it's a good thing. But if it is guided bad, then it's a very bad thing actually. So that way it helps in financially by budgets also.
Sir, there are other indexes like Global Health Index, global maybe something. So is this Global Happiness Index and Health Index are connected in one way or other, or are there something separate?
Yeah, it's connected. As I told you, health is part of that global happiness index. Health is part of that. So whether the health of the country, the health of the nation, is people are healthy enough, whether they are physically healthy or mentally healthy also. Whether we have too many mental problem issues, nervous issues, because
Mhm.
of late there is a lot of nervous issues also coming in the population, and
Mhm.
that nervous issue is coming because of the mobile. Many of the people are having because of the mobile nervous issue, because mobile affects. If you are exposed to mobile, especially the old people,
Mhm.
if you are exposed to mobile, there are cosmic rays which are exposed to your nervous system. So that is also one of the in the global means nervous. If you're mentally you're getting problematic, then that is also it is part of that. Health is also a part of that.
Mhm. Yeah. So, what is your advice? So, like for individuals, for the companies, and for the government. I mean, when I talk about companies, it's a board and management leadership team. And what is your advice to the individuals, and what is the advice for the government?
Yeah, actually, somebody asked me this question also. How should boards integrate this into their strategy? This happiness index. So this is more or less comes the answer the same thing. So if you're from a company point of view or a board's point of view, there is three immediate actions they have to take. The first one is track internal happiness signals, and you have to be very honest about it.
Mhm.
Most of the internal happiness signals tracking within the company, they're not. People are very like you can't what you call face to face. You can't take them on face value. So how will you track internal happiness signals? The first one is employee well-being. Are you
Mhm.
doing anything which creates an employee well-being this thing? That employee feels that he is getting the other day I was seeing some somebody's interview. I don't know. Well, he was a company owner, and the first thing he told, he was giving some interview in YouTube. I saw. I don't know the name of the company and the because he was wearing a T-shirt with the company name over there. I don't know the name. Next time I find out, I will tell the name also. He told the interviewer that the interviewer asked us, sir, how come your employees are so happy, nobody is leaving, and all this. Because he is running some platform actually. He's running some platform like Swiggy or something like that. Some platform
Sorry,
out there. Yeah.
sorry, referring to
Some
Zerodha? Mhm.
Zeroda, no, no, no. Actually,
Nikhil
because I
Kamath.
know the Zeroda guy,
Nikhil Kamath.
Joe, maybe I don't know. No, Nikhil Kamath, I know because he is not Nikhil Kamath. He is not the another guy. He's a small guy.
Mhm.
He's not a very famous also. So what he was saying is, what I do is the first thing ever anybody joins our company, I know that that guy has to have a, or he or she should have a bike. They can't buy. They are not what you call. They may not be having. Most of them may not be affordable to buy a bike. So I give them a bike in their name itself, so that of course they will have some amount cutting over there. So naturally, as somebody comes in, joins and he gets a bike, that's a different way of altogether. The employee feels like it's all different. Just like it's like instant gratification, you can say. So that's got his employee well-being. He was saying he told some 3 4 things which he does. This is one of the things he does. That's what he's saying. And if somebody has grown some 6 7 years, 10 years, he tells them that he gives them a house also, a flat. Like there is a guy in Surat, a diamond merchant who gives every year, every Diwali, he gives cars to all his employees, good cars. I mean, they're not like cheapest ones, all the big good ones, all the mid-sized ones. He gives cars to some all the employees. Of last time he did, so he gave some around some 1,000 cars to his employees, all of them, every Diwali. People and nobody leaves them, and no, that is how the attrition is zero there. And in fact, and many of and he takes care of the marriages of their children also. He will do all the he will do all the kharcha of the all the spending for the marriages of the children. So there are different ways of doing it. See, I'm not saying that you should follow this, you should follow this. Even a small thing also makes a lot of impact. That small thing we need to understand. But our people don't have time. That is a problem. The companies don't have time to think on these small things. There are small things which give you a lot of huge impact from an employee point of view. Now, the second one is decision fatigue. The first one is employee well-being. That's how you track happiness signal. The second one is decision fatigue. There's a fatigue within the decision because decisions are not taken very fast. It's like bureaucracy. There are too much of red tapeism happening within the company. If you ask something, they will say that उसके पास जाओ, उसका साइन लो, उसके पास फाइनेंस का साइन लो, फाइनेंस के बाद पहले एचआर का साइन लो, फिर फाइनेंस का साइन लो, फिर तुम्हारा सीईओ का साइन लो, फिर पहले तुम्हारा बॉस का साइन लो. All this kind of stuff. This is very decision fatigue. So this should not be there. This creates a lot of dissatisfaction among the employees and the overall trust within the organization. This is the third one. How you will track the happiness, the overall trust. Whether this, if some, can we tell very openly to the outsider, please come and join my company because my company is really great. I'm very happy here. Or we tell them that please don't join my company and I'm also looking for options outside. Most of the times that's the case. Very rarely people say that you will please come and join our company because I'm very happy. Because they're not happy, so naturally they will not make sure that their friends and family should come into this company. If they're happy, they will do that. So what is the next one? That was the tracking internal happiness signals. The next one, what board needs to do is market selection lens. So use happiness as a proxy for stability, talent retention, and consumer confidence. So if you are stable, if your company is stable enough, if a because I told you about the trust. If people, companies expect that employees should believe in them rather than they believing the employees. The first employers should believe your employee first, and it start from the day one. They will not believe their employees. They will have everything which creates mistrust. Every rule, everything is creates mistrust. You don't have any rules, then it will automatically people will be trusting you. See, we don't want to do what you call lose the strings. We feel that if you tighten the screws, then things will happen. That doesn't happen that way. More you tighten the screws, the friction tax will go up, the productivity will go down. So next is use happiness as a proxy for stability, talent retention, and consumer confidence. That's the second part. And the third one, how to reduce internal friction. How will you reduce the internal? I told you I was talking about friction tax, which is not seen in the balance sheets. There is a huge tax which is a burden, overburdened. By every company is overburdened by that, but it will not show you in the balance sheet. Finance will not show. I told you because the numbers don't show what is behind the between the numbers, between the lines, between the words. These are things, and balance sheet will not show, or a P&L statement. So reduce internal functions, frictions rather. How will you reduce internal friction? The simplify process. You have to, as I told you, the process has to be very simplified. You have to not to take for 5 signatures for one particular thing, for a leave or for a loan or for anything for that matter. You have to go to one table to another table, another table to another table. Then finally it is the CEO. Then CEO will say, "No, I don't want. This is yours rejected." Then finally getting back to the square one. So we have to simplify the process. Now we have to increase the transparency. If you increase the transparency, uh, people will feel trusted about it. You have to be very transparent in your process. Of course, there are things within a company that which we are not supposed to tell. If you ask me, there are things because I am in several boards, so I am not supposed to talk about there are internal things which are boards not supposed to tell. But there are things which we have to be very transparent about. So that distinction is very clear. That is very critical. And the improve the predictability. People should be able to predict their future basically. If I stay in this company, what is my future next 2 3 years down the line, or next 2 3 years in the decade? If I spend some decade in this, where I will be? That kind of predictable. They need to predict their futures. That should be very easy to predict, and that happens only when you have a stable companies, trusted companies where you're working, where you where you have a best trusted leadership. Actually, that all boils down to the leadership, and that will all these things which I told you, this will create a low friction enterprise. That is the idea. The whole idea is to create a low friction enterprise where there is no friction tax which is
Mhm.
invisible, which is actually invisible. And the best companies mirror the best societies. Low friction, high trust.
Good, sir. So, what is your advice for the governments? So, how do you, what is it? Yeah. And see here,
Yeah,
see, so when you talk about global happiness index, employee happiness is one of the most important. But
yeah,
there are so many others, like you have farmers, you have small business
yes,
owners.
yes, yes,
So what about them? Because it's not uh, something simple. Because employment
yeah,
is one of the one part, a major part. But there are rest of the society where you have government employees. They will never be happy, whatever you
yeah,
do.
yeah. They'll never be happy. You're
They
right.
will never be happy. Okay, and you have farmers. Okay, you have small business owners. Okay, there are so many people within the
Yeah,
country. Uh, well, I don't know. For me, it all relational. It all depends on the individual. I'm very happy when I was working. I'm very happy every time because I set expectations reasonable. I don't set
yes,
expectations
yeah.
too much,
That is
but
also, yeah.
it
That,
does
that
not
is also
mean that I
into, yeah.
don't work hard. I work very hard, but I don't take pressure of the output. Okay, I take the pressure of input, but not the output. That is the reason,
That is true.
whatever
Yeah,
you have, you are happy.
sir. I will tell you, it's actually happiness is very individualistic.
Individual.
Frankly,
Yeah.
it is very individualistic because it is very relative. Somebody is happy in very low things in life. Somebody is very happy in staying in a what you call even a jail also, right?
Yes, exactly.
Somebody is not happy at all, even if he is living in a
No,
villa.
no matter what you
Even in
give.
villa also,
Yeah.
yeah, he is unhappy. He is unhappy. So it's very relatable. It's, of course, what you said is right. It's very individualistic, very relative. But overall, from a government side, what governments need to do, like I was saying about, because it's my home state, so I can tell you better. I've the only I've seen talking about happiness index. That's the only state which I've seen. I've not seen any state talking about happiness index.
Mhm.
So if everybody thinks about them from that fashion, so he once our CM was saying that our happiness index has to go up. As I see, within the state he is talking about. That
Yeah,
can
of
go up
course.
only when only that has to go up. Once the all the states achieve that, the country will achieve. The country will achieve that. So how you will happiness index? As I told, employees have to what do you call, the companies have to do that. Same similarly, it has to be happen through people also. Like you have to give them proper health, proper
Health,
what do you call entrepreneurship, what do you call opportunities
opportunity,
for
equal
ladies, yeah,
opportunity,
for equal opportunities for
freedom of
MSMEs,
movement,
yeah,
safety.
movement,
Okay.
safety.
Now
Then
the people
you,
who live, yeah, individually they're not, they don't feel safe. So if
yeah, they
somebody
don't
is
feel safe.
ready, it's
They
very
don't
hard.
feel safe. Yeah,
Okay.
that is very.
And yeah, there are some
And
things which, yeah, which go against that. Yeah.
I can tell you from a data point of view, if your society is happy, if your companies are happy, the productivity goes up by 20 to 25% straight away.
That's very sure. That's very true.
That
That's
that's
very,
that's
very
something
true.
which you have to look at. Yes, and once the productivity goes up around 20 to 25%, that's a huge increase in GDP. That's a
Definitely,
huge.
happy people definitely will make happy family,
Yeah,
happy nation, happy country, happy company,
low.
everything.
Then it also leads to lower absenteeism. As you said
Yes.
about government employees, they generally are very absent. Even if they sit, also they are not working. So lower absenteeism, their productivity will also go high, and higher innovation output. Innovation will
Hmm.
go up if people are happy. They'll have start
So,
ideas, very good ideas.
yeah. Yeah. So excellent discussion. So you have we almost finished. So any top key takeaways from you to the audience? It's very interesting. I keep listening. Okay, that's good. That's a good topic. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, so first takeaway is that productivity is not just skill, it is a state of mind enabled by system of design.
That's correct.
That is one
I totally
takeaway.
agree.
The
Mhm.
second one is people don't compare GDP, they compare their own lived experience. They're not bothered about GDP. People are not bothered about whether India is doing 7.8, 8.6. They will compare their last year with this year and
This good.
this year with their future year. That's all. So they compare their lived experiences. If every people are happy
Mhm.
in their from their last year to this year, and they expect that their next year is also going to be very happy, they'll be very happy. And what do you call, the governments don't create happiness. That is you can take it on this thing. Their job is
Mhm.
to only remove friction or the invisible friction
I,
tax.
yeah, I think what you told one
So
very important thing. Yeah, mental health. I think that is one of the most important thing. Everybody should take care of that. Every individual, every company. So mental health is now really killing the country as a whole.
now
It's very,
you're talking about mental health. The key sectors which do pretty well in a happier societies are wellness. And right now, I don't know whether you know it or not, Gen Z is not drinking. Gen Z is not drinking. The alcohol consumption across the world has gone down.
Mhm, mhm,
Gen Z is not drinking at all. We feel that Gen Z is drinking a lot. They are not drinking. Millennials used to drink a lot, but
mhm,
Gen Z is not spending on drinks.
that is
They are
something
spending on wellness. They are spending on
I don't know that.
fitness. They're spending gyms.
Fitness.
They're spending on beauty. So that is a happiness index. There's, as I told you, if the population is traveling a lot, that is also an happiness index. If the population is spending a lot on education, that is also an happiness index. And there is a premium consumption. The premium categories are selling a lot. You take the case of mobiles, you take the case of automobiles, you take the case of appliances or electronics. The premium level, the premium segment is selling very high in India. That is also one kind of indicator of happiness. So this entire key sector, wellness, travel, education, and the premium consumption is more or less equal globally. It is equivalent to 10 to 12 US trillion dollars. 10 to 12 US trillion dollars. So that's the kind of economy you're looking at. If your happiness goes up, all these sectors goes up. All these put together, it will be 10 to 12 trillion dollars US dollars. And the happiness doesn't just improve lives; it reshapes markets. It will reshape the market.
That's
And let me end. Finally, happiness is not HR; it is strategy.
that's great. That's a great topic, sir. Very important. There are some very important topics you touched. I think for me, one of the most important thing I always think and I always tell everybody that take care of yourself. That is one of the most important advice I give everybody. Take care of yourself. Don't depend on others. Take care of yourself. Your happiness is with you. If you want to be happy, you can be happy, no
It
matter
is
what it
within
is.
you. It is within
Within you. Okay.
you. Yeah,
So
that's within you.
it's all individual. It's all individual. And if you want to be happy, nobody can make you unhappy.
That is true. That is also
Okay.
a good line, actually. Yeah, that is true.
So, so great, sir. Thank you for a wonderful session. And we in Data Labs and Frucy, uh, this is a topic which we talk in general. We always talk about supply chain strategy,
Yeah,
manufacturing, and we never had any topic which is nothing to do with the supply chain manufacturing. Of course, happiness is directly related to everywhere, but this is something, when you ask me, okay, so let us see if this is something very interesting topic. Yeah,
actually,
I
it has
think
created. Actually, sir, it has created a lot of buzz among my LinkedIn connect. That's why they have sent so many questions. Actually, there are so many of them which I couldn't read here. Actually, because of the
Mhm,
paucity of time.
mhm. Excellent, sir. So thank you very much, and have a good time. Enjoy. Okay, look forward in the next event sometime. Okay.
Certainly,
So
certainly, certainly.
thank you, thank you, and
Thanks a
have a
lot.
good
Thank
time.
you very
Thank
much.
you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Jyoti.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
everybody.
Jyoti. Thank you very much.
Bye bye. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, and everybody. Thank you.